Hey guys, Moldran here. Today I want to talk about mistakes that people do when they build decks in Arena. Now, building the right deck in Arena is very important because it directly, like the outcome of one Arena series directly depends on how strong your deck is. And while there's certainly some RNG involved, because sometimes you get to choose between 3 bad cards all the time and you're unable to build a really strong deck. And sometimes you get those 5 swipes and 3 wraths in one druid deck. And because of that RNG element, and often it's also, for example, that you choose between 3 bad cards, 3 bad cards, 3 bad cards, and then, for example, that you have to choose between Consecration and True Silver and, I don't know, something else. That's really ridiculous. But still, I see a lot of people make some mistakes when building arena decks. They complete the confident ability, and today I just want to talk about how to avoid those mistakes and build a deck properly. Now, I started here with a druid deck where I just picked 20 cards, and usually in the first 20 cards you can't really make that many mistakes. Usually you just pick the best cards out of the 3, but after 20 cards it's really important what you do now, because now there's certain things that matter. And the first thing is picking the best card of the 3 is not always the best choice. Now let me explain this. Now a lot of people for example use the list. For example, this is the list that Trump created where he ranks certain cards in their strength. So for example, you see number 1 is this, number 2 is that, and yeah. First of all, this is a bit outdated. Secondly, it doesn't include spells, but still a lot of people use it. And they are okay, when I have 3 cards to choose from, I take a look at that list and I choose whatever has the highest rank on that list. Now, while this list is pretty accurate and while it's a good idea to do this for the first cards, there are other things that matter in Arena, because the second mistake that I'm going to talk about now is the mana curve. Now a lot of people don't know how to, don't take a look at the mana curve, and if they always pick up the best card out of the 3 options, they might end up with a mana curve, let's say, full of 5s, and with way too little early game to even make it to the late game. So that's why you always have to consider, especially 20 or 15 cards in the game, what do I need in the deck? And as far as the mana curve is concerned, there's a second problem, because a lot of people put too much emphasis on meeting or matching a certain mana curve. For example, there are some players, for example, some players they want to peak at the 2 drops and then have a downward sloping mana curve. So for example, 15, or let's say 12 2 drops, 9 3 drops, 8 4 drops, 5 5 drops, and so on. So a downward sloping curve. Then there's some people Trump, for example, who have more a bell curve that peaks at 4. So some decent early game, then very hard focus on the mid game, and then it goes down again. And then there's some people, for example, I've seen Grip often use this with a flat curve. For example, 8 2 drops, 8 3 drops, 8 4 drops, and so on. And now, the problem with trying to go for a specific mana curve is that there is no best mana curve. There is no best mana curve, and it depends largely on the deck. For example, it also even depends on the first cards that you get and on the class that you play. For example, if you play Warlock, you might be very focused around 1 drops and 2 drops and a few 3 drops to really get that rushdown deck going. But you could also play a Warlock as a control Warlock. For example, if you don't get those Blood Imps, Flame Imps in the first 15 cards, you probably want to go for a control deck, because you can't really rush down without certain cards that are needed for that playstyle. And same in this deck. In this deck, I just chose strong cards, and now it's all gonna matter. It's how I'm gonna make the mana curve. And for example, in my deck right now, you see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big creatures above 5, which is already what you should have. I always get between 5 and 6. Now, does this mean that you should always does this mean that I never pick a 5 drop now anymore? No. I have to evaluate now between different options. For example, in my deck, I only have 3 4 drops, 2 Children's and 1 Nomushi Mentor. So, for example, if in this case scenario, I would get a Druid of the Claw and the Children, or Dark Iron Dwarf, I would go for the Children or Dark Iron Dwarf, because I need 4 drops. I have enough 5 drops or 6 drops, and I need 4 drops. But if you have to choose between a Druid of the Claw and 2 pieces of crap, the Boar, which can actually be useful in some cases, he's not getting given enough credit, but still against a Druid of the Claw, this is a no-brainer. I can't pick this Boar over a Druid of the Claw in this scenario. So I have to go here and hope that I'm gonna get some lower minions now. Now here's also, for example, what do I need right now? I need 3 drops. You see, there's a lack of 3 drops in my deck. I only have a Wolf Rider, a Shattered Sun, and a Questing. So what I'm gonna do here is get the Earthen Ring. Even though Innovate is also a viable option, because I have so many big creatures. Like I could innovate at one of the Druid of the Claws on the board, or the Azure Drake, or whatever. On the other hand, it's more important to secure the early game here, and I don't have anything that combos with spells. So like I don't have anything like a Gacha Down Auctioneer that would give me an extra card draw if I would innovate, or a Violet Teacher that would give me the 1/1 minion on the board. Then here again, what do I need in my deck? Let's see if we have drawing power. I have 1 Gnomish Inventor and a Nourish, which is decent drawing power. I don't have a Silence, but I took Naturalize, which pretty much is a Silence with even bonus effects, because you can also kill big creatures with it. Now, the other cards here aren't really good. Like the Owl is a 2/1, dies to anything, even to some hero powers like Mage or Druid or Rogue. So I don't really like it. Same with the Dalaran Mage. Dalaran Mage is 1/4. I already have spell power in my Geomancer and don't need a weak 3-drop with only 1 attack. So I'm gonna go for the card draw here. Then here, yeah, the Oracle. Like this is not a Murloc Rushdown deck, so this is pretty much useless. We have to choose between Mark of the Wild and Mark of Nature. I prefer Mark of the Wild, simply because it's +2/+2, which equals like either +4 attack or +4 health, and it's 1 MP cheaper, so you can often use it when you can't use the 3-drop. I don't really need to give anything like 4 attack, I think. On the other hand, Mark of Nature and Druid of the Claw is a pretty good combo that like gives you 8 attack and charge, which could be used to finish someone off. But Druids in general are more like control focused decks, not Russian decks, so I'm gonna go with Mark of the Wild here. And seems like we might get Mark of Nature after all, but let's see how many 2-drops we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 2-drop minions is not enough. We need to get the Direwolf here. Even though Wild Growth again would also be useful to like get more high-end creatures out earlier. Then here we have another 2-drop, but I think the drawing ability with the Acolyte we just took and Nourish Gnomish Inventor is fine. On the other hand, we have so many big cards, so a Starfire doesn't really fit in. So we're just gonna go for even more early game. Novice Engineer also combos pretty well with Mark of the Wild, making it a 3/4. And last card is gonna be, oh, this is tough. I have nothing to make something taunt, I have no Silence, so the Ancient Watcher loses value, but there's nothing really I can do with this Ancient Watcher. It's only good if I can either silence it, so you can attack with it, or I can make it a taunt. Well, I have 1 Mark of the Wild, which could be very useful, I think. But yeah, the other 2 cards are too bad, so I have to go with this. And see, this is the mana curve we ended up with. Now, not a standard mana curve, we have more 2-drops and more 5-drops, but the 5-drops are mostly because of Druid of the Claw, which is an insane 5-drop. Probably the best 5-drop minion in the game. It even gives you options between a 4/4 charge and 4/6 taunt. And yeah. So I talked about 2 mistakes already, about always choosing the best card according to card rankings, and about the mana curve. And the third mistake I see people do is they don't take enough time. Like they just like click through everything. They like click, 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 decide like in 3 seconds what's the best card. But that's even some streamers do this, but I think that's not good, because you should always evaluate, okay, in my current deck, what do I need? Mana curve wise, what do I need creature wise, what synergy effects do I have? For example, if you have a Raging Worgen or an Amani Berserker or both of them, then suddenly the value of an Elven Archer increases by a lot, because the Elven Archer can then be used to either like kill something off, like at 1 shot 1 kills on 1 HP targets, or can also be used to enrage your own creatures and make the Worgen, for example, attack for 8 damage to the face in 1 turn. And synergy effects are really, really important. I have some synergy effects in my deck. I always try to get synergy effects in my deck. And for example, now I have the Ancient Watcher Mark of the Wild combo, which makes the Ancient Watcher a 6/7 taunt, turn 3. And that's something that's pretty good. And if the opponent decides to silence the Ancient Watcher, he silences away the taunt, that's good. But then I can attack with the Ancient Watcher. So this is basically like 2 good things with 1 creature. And yeah, same goes with Mad Bomber. Mad Bomber and Acolyte is a very strong combo, because you can pick your Acolyte on the board, and then you actually want the Mad Bomber to hit your own creature. And if there's nothing else on the board, there's actually a 70% chance to hit the Acolyte at least once, as I showed in one of my previous videos. But yeah, again, the top three mistakes. First mistake, only picking the best card out of the three. Don't do that. You can do this until like 10 or 15 cards into the draft, but then really like look at mana curve, look at synergies, look what you need. Second mistake is the mana curve itself. Don't try to like aim for a specific mana curve all the time. It's different for every class, it's different for every deck. It depends on all the synergies they have and stuff. And take a look at the mana curve, make sure that you like have enough early game, have enough mid game, have enough late game. But don't make it the deciding factor to be like, okay, it's not looking like a bell now, not looking like a downward sloping 2 curve. I have to get this now, I have to get this now. And the last tip is take your time. Like you can be fast in the first 3 cards, but after you reach like the middle of the draft, like 15 cards into it, take your time, analyze every situation, always think, okay, what would other people do in this? What helps my deck the most? And you're gonna start with a decent deck and might end up getting those 7+ wins to get the entry fee back, which is ultimately the goal, to like be able to self-sustain yourself through Arena and play unlimited Arena without having to spend any money on entry fees. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this small video. I'm gonna make more guides about the drafting, of course. Today was mostly like what you should not do, but of course I also need to make videos like about what you should do. And one thing I've also planned is now I'm writing down like the Arena stats of myself, and I wanna probably, once I have enough data, I can make like videos of like all 10+ win decks that I had for each classes. So we can really see and analyze what does work and what does not work. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll be back.